What's good, everybody? So it's the composition, the MC that writes fiction, back at it with another reaction. We got this video. Kendrick Lamar finally made a mistake. What? Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video on the road to 5K. Appreciate y'all for the love and support. Let me know how y'all are doing in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, hey, if you like the video, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. But this there's a lot of interesting talks that are going around. One of them is this thought of Kendrick Lamar being a hypocrite, Kendrick Lamar making a mistake. And it's wild to me because it's just all like, yeah, like we're gonna make mistakes. There's gonna be stuff that we're hypocritical about. And it's wild the narrative that is being painted. Even What's the Dirt just dropped the Meet the Grind after all of the backlash and different things before it was happening, before he dropped it. It was like over 2 hours of different things like that. And I know me, like if I work on something for that long, like I'm dropping it no matter what. But the thing is that you see the comments and I'm hearing feedback from it, and it's just all like, yo, you're a Kendrick hater. You're painting him to be X, Y, and Z, even though a lot of those different things were debunked. The other narrative that I'm hearing is Kendrick being some sort of hypocrite for taking the Super Bowl um opportunity for several different things, specifically the Super Bowl, which to me doesn't make any sense. Like people are expecting, are they not forgetting how many different award shows and things that Kendrick's performed at kept the same message? So I don't understand why, because the Super Bowl is a big, thing, that he somehow is he's a sellout because he's, taking it in. I know a lot of it is just people just being silly. And again, Kendrick is not above criticism. None of us are, So if there are some things where it's just like, okay, but the thing is, a lot of what people are trying to pin on Kendrick is stuff that he's already talked about in his music. So it's kind of like, Eminem and the 8 Mile, where it's just all like last battle, it's just all like, I know everything you about to say against me. I am and then, like he's already let all this stuff out. So people coming at him trying to put him as this, even trying to paint him as this savior or this messiah or being above. And it's just like, so you can't have any critique of the culture or anything like that, or you're gonna be Mr. or Mrs. High and Mighty. Like I don't get that. I feel like it's just a bunch of stuff people are trying to pit on him or anyone who, has a message or calls out what it is that they see. They try to say, oh, it's crazy that Kendrick's, going after Drake when Dr. Dre's been accused of the same thing, different thing. It's just like, yo, y'all are reaching for the freaking sky. You know what I mean? Like, it's wild. But let's see how Kendrick Lamar finally made a mistake.
What's poppin', y'all? Kendrick Lamar may have made the first mistake that we've seen out of him the entire year. We're gonna dive into his most recent release, Watch the Party Die, which was a song he dropped on Instagram Reels. It's not officially released on streaming platforms as of yet, and we don't know if it will ever be. I'm not sure if it's a sample issue. I'm not sure if it needs to get clearance. I'm not sure if it will be released in a little bit because the record label is just trying to catch up. Kendrick Lamar is independent now, quote unquote, but he's got a partnership most likely with another record label in the same way that TDE had a partnership with Interscope. But I do want to give both praise and criticism where it's due for this track and the
Oh,
decision to
goodness.
drop this track. And then we're going
Why?
to reflect on whether it was the right move or a misstep for Kendrick. So we'll start off with the praise, and I
Okay.
enjoyed the song. So my personal appreciation for this song, I
I want
liked
to
it.
know
I liked
what
the message behind it. It's not a new
misstep he
message,
did.
of course. It's something that Kendrick Lamar has been consistent about throughout his entire career.
Yes.
I just think now we're seeing him up the ante. For example, these are the same messages that he's talked about since, hell, even To
Section
Pimp a Butterfly,
80,
even before
overly
that. They've been common
dedicated.
throughout his career. But now
Yeah,
we're starting to see more anger come out of Kendrick Lamar. The frustration is bubbling. Like, for instance,
because
in verse 3 when he talks about Lecrae and D1, which are two Christian rappers, and then he says, I want to be empathetic, my heart like D1, but I will, and then he just drops this moment of silence. And it's almost as if he's so overwhelmed that he doesn't want to say like what unspeakable things he could commit to get to the end goal that he wants, which is, things to be obviously not as degenerate and destruction, which he also paints Drake as being one of the elements of that. Although there are many. There are a couple
yeah,
of interpretations floating around. I'm really not the guy that enjoys, on stream at least, or on video. I don't even stream. What am I talking about? On video, dissecting lyrics. It's just not me. I like to do it in my own personal time. But I am drawn to how Kendrick reflects on his own legacy and the state of the music industry. One of the new
I
themes that
mean,
we see appear here is more of the Christianity. Because if
I some of the things when I hear people talking about this stuff, it's like uh, they get it correct as far as like, yes, he's talked about it all throughout his music. Anything you're about to say, the Christian themes, whether it be or any of the other stuff, yes, this has all been in his music. And with that being said, let's think about the fact something like Overly Dedicated dropped 2010, 2011. Because I remember when it literally dropped on Two Dope Boys, that was like my first introduction as far as the Kendrick Lamar. So, when I think about like a track like Ignorance is Bliss and different things like that, and from that point, to being where he's at now with the accomplishments, with all these different things, there could be a level of bitterness, So, yeah, it's going to sound a lot more aggressive. It's going to sound a lot now he's got, children, that he's thinking about, he's matured. There's a lot of things that are put into this stuff on why he feels the way that he feels. So to me it's just interesting when people paint like this brush that he's already painted, for himself.
you look at Kendrick Lamar's bars in Damn, the Damn album, and I don't know too much about To Pimp a Butterfly. I can't recall that off of the top of my head because I just didn't
Dope
listen to
album.
that album as much as I did Damn or any of the other albums. But Kendrick Lamar historically has had a
Butterfly's so
lot
freaking
of
dope.
reference to the Five Percenters, which are an offshoot, Nation of Gods and Earths. And he would drop a lot of bars there, Hebrew Israelite bars too. Some people wouldn't be able to catch them. Yeah, you really, really needed to be aware of what these groups even operate
Yeah.
under to catch some of these bars. However, now it's a lot more Christianity on this track, especially like, references to Jezebel. And he did for sure grow up Christian and go into church,
So
but
what's
even
the
mentioning
issue?
these Christian rappers, the
See, this is
chorus,
the
which is
thing.
like
A
dear.
lot of people assume. For me, I wouldn't say I practice different things. I research different things. And there might be something that I'll be deep into that resonates that I'll be able to put in the bar, you know? And I think people are just grasping for straws at this point. Like, oh, what is he, a Christian or is he a Hebrew Israelite or is he this or this? And it's just all like, does it matter? Like, in the sense of he's speaking, and even if let's just say that he was and he now identifies as Christian, what does that take away from the message? What does that take away from his music? Like, what does that take away? You know what I mean?
God. So I like this theme overall. Now, there is some criticism that people have made. Some people are saying, oh, I don't think this is a Drake diss, number
It's
one.
not.
There are probably themes here that relate to how Kendrick Lamar feels about Drake, and that's one thing. I don't think this is an academics diss either, which is what people are trying to paint it as.
It's
But I
like
do
a
think it's addressing a
generality.
criticism that academics has made of not just Kendrick Lamar, but also Drake, but mainly Kendrick Lamar, where he always says, oh, these guys got to speak. They need to talk to somebody. And I think that's where he calls out these radio personalities. So the criticism of Kendrick Lamar is that he barely speaks. We never hear from him. So I don't think he's dissing radio personalities. Well, he is to a degree. But he says the radio personality pushing propaganda for salary. Let me know when they turn up as a casualty. I want agony. I think
Yeah.
he's sending another. This is my own interpretation, which is a little bit different. I think he doesn't want to sit down with these people. So their whole thing is, oh, Kendrick Lamar needs to speak. But if he's going to speak, he's going to have to speak to a radio personality or somebody really big. He's not going to
Who's
speak to
pushing the
academics. I wouldn't
propaganda.
say, yeah, I think he doesn't like him. But then you've got the other big figures, which
and
are radio personalities.
and the different narratives in general. Like they push, like think about the Breakfast Club. You get on there, they're trying to, do like pull salacious stuff. So again, they're pushing propaganda. So in the same way that he mentioned on this track, reason why I'm not enthused to drop, because the more visible you are, the more your physical is trying to different things like that. He's gotten to a point where he's able to fall back and release and do things the way that he wants to be able to deliver the type of art that he wants to deliver. And it's interesting because there's this YouTuber, the dope. If you look up Blue and Kendrick Lamar, this YouTuber did a great job of showing the juxtaposition. I got to open up for Blue, but again, they're both from Cali, LA, that area in general. And Blue was basically the Kendrick before Kendrick, and he showed where they were like neck and neck, and then Kendrick did do. But the thing is, Blue has more project. He drops more consistently than Kendrick Lamar. But what Kendrick Lamar drops holds more weight, and it's subjective as far as for fan to fan, but as far as culturally, it holds more weight. You know what I mean? So it's just all like, as an artist, even me, I find myself trying to find this balance of like, okay, I need the drop, but I don't like want it to feel like this rush thing, like, and not to say blues is rushed or isn't art or different things like that. He Blue operates in a way that I pretty much operate, which is I like to make music and then put it out. Kendrick is more the calculated, and it show if we look at pure accomplishments from the two, you know, it just depends on what it is that you want, in general. So eh, I get why he doesn't want to, sit down with these different interviews. So I still want to know what he
And that
thinks
would
his
likely do the
misstep
most numbers,
was.
get the most reach, get the most coverage. So I think Kendrick Lamar here is pointing them out and saying or alluding to the fact that he won't speak to them. And I like this because we're trying to not we, because I'm not doing this, but people are trying to pigeonhole Kendrick Lamar or force him into this box, kind of like a cube into a sphere, cube into a circle, and making him speak when Kendrick Lamar has never been the guy that speaks a lot. And I love the fact where he's somewhat saying, hey, look, it's my art that speaks for me. He's
Yeah.
always been someone that lets his music do the talking, and I don't see that ever changing. And I think he's letting people know, hey, even this beef is not going to change that fact. Like my visuals, my music, first and foremost, is going to be how I send this message. For instance,
Still
To
does
Pimp a
it.
Butterfly, right? That was all music. And then if there was any time that he was really going to speak, it was during the George Floyd incidents of 2020. And he didn't say anything there either. He did show up to, I believe, one of the protests that was going on in LA, but he didn't say anything. He didn't drop a statement. He didn't hop on an interview
put
and
it on
talk
his
about it. And he's
music.
talked about some of these things early on in his career, but now he doesn't have to do that. So why would he have to do that now when he didn't even do that for a cause that is deeper than rap, really, more like a social issue? So this is something that I really like about Kendrick Lamar is he's not letting people force
That's a
him into
fresh get
addressing
up.
them, justifying something to them, or explaining anything to them. And I like that this is somewhat moving past the Drake beef. Sure, like we said, there might be subliminals that could be directed at Drake, but overall, this wasn't about that beef. Kendrick's moving forward, and that's something I can respect. Now, when it comes to this misstep, I will
Yes.
admit that I have criticism of this release. I don't think it hit the mark. Not the song quality. I said this already. But I put out a tweet on Twitter, of course, X, saying
Okay.
Kendrick dropped something that
That came and went. Nobody's still discussing that other than Kendrick Lamar Fanatics. It was solid and concerts ongoing. A song like that would likely live longer, but since the beat of the flame for the track like that went out real quick. What are you even talking about? How, how when you yourself just put this video out, I myself am reacting to this video. There is plenty of YouTubers and people and big media personalities that are still talking about it. You put this on the 15th. The track just dropped September 11th at night. We're getting people doing their response tracks to it, almost like the control verse and different things like that. Lecrae and D1 have responded back, so now that's doing that. What? How was this a misstep? I personally believe it did everything that he wanted it to do. It was just all like it was right after the Super Bowl announcement, right after the heels of everything, and for him to drop this, this was perfect. Like, what are you talking about? That's weird. That's just not even true. At the time that he put this out, it hadn't even been out a week yet. So, I've seen nothing but people talking about it. What do you mean it came and went? This is not just Kendrick Lamar fanatics. You could go on TikTok, you could go on Twitter, you could go on YouTube. People are still talking about it. Oh, wow. Okay.
and went. Nobody is still discussing that, and that I'm referring to Watch the Party Die, other than Kendrick Lamar fanatics.
But
It was
that's not
solid.
true.
And in the context of an ongoing beef, a song like that would likely live longer. But since the beef is over, the flame for a track like that went out real quick. This was in response to a fan saying Kendrick currently has the music industry in the palm of his hand. Instead of chasing a hit record, he gave us something meaningful instead. He's rewriting the rules. You can't rewrite the rules. The consumer is the person that dictates what's
Which
going to
they're
happen. Or
consuming. The thing is that it, for one, it had over 1 million views in less than 24 hours on Instagram. Then it got put on YouTube, and the plays have gone up for that. I Where are you look? That's what I want to know. Where are you looking at? Because everywhere that I'm seeing, and it can be the algorithm, but the fact that these are fresh new videos 5 hours ago, a day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, people are still talking about it. Like what I sir, you're just wrong.
what they respond to. And in this case, they didn't respond to it that, no, I wouldn't say that well, but they moved past it. And I do believe this could
How?
be one of several reasons. Number one, the timing and context of this, it
Sir,
just didn't make sense.
what are
Because
you
the perfect
talking
runway that
about?
I'm talking about is number one, this Kendrick Lamar Not Like Us song is still in the top 10. It's still
Yes.
being played everywhere. It's going to
Yes.
continue to be played everywhere until most likely next year, throughout the end
Yes.
of this year. However, there are going to be moments in this time frame where metaphorically Kendrick will be stomping out Drake without even having to do anything, because in November, the Grand
Before we get into that, this video is sponsored by me. Hey, if you want to dive into new music, I have a catalog. Catalog. Yeah. These are not singles, these are albums. But more recently this year, I did release an album called Tame Chaos. So you can listen, stream, download, purchase all of that in the link in the description. And just check it out because I want to see if people are actually seeing this and going to the site. So anyways, guys, all right, sorry guys, my memory and stuff is going out on here. So if you do want to see the full video, I'll go ahead and leave it. That was like my main thing, was to see like where he thought he made a misstep. And in my opinion, I think that he's completely wrong. I don't know how you could say it came and went when people are still talking about it. I don't know how you can sit up there and try to compare Not Like Us or that. And it's just like he didn't need to drop another hit record. He didn't need he's trying to make it fit something that's not. And I was talking about that at the beginning of the video. I'm just saw like, yo, why are people doing this? They're trying to he even talked about it in the video. Like people will sit up here and say things in their videos and contradict it later on. And it's just all like, yo, people are still talking about it. It is still relevant. It doesn't need to be on Spotify, iTunes. It doesn't need to be a hit record or anything like that. Kendrick has already done what he needed to do. This wasn't in regards to the beef. I really feel like this really had nothing to do with the beef. So to even be like, okay, on the heels of this, on da 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 da, yeah, people was sitting up there making it seem like Kendrick did not, shouldn't be doing the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So let me know what y'all think. I didn't know that it was gonna be like this. It kind of pissed me off, but yo, let me know what y'all think in the comments. It's Mr. Composition MC that writes fiction. I'm back at it with another reaction. Make sure to like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video on the road to 5K. Make sure to check out the description for my music, books, comics, and more. All right, y'all. Peace.